What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. I hope you're all well. I'm great, thank you for asking. I've got a raspy voice today. You can hear it in my voice if I kind of lower my tone a little bit, but I'm gonna try and talk a little bit like this so you can't hear it so much. Or it's gonna be a little bit deep in here, but we're gonna do a Q&A today. This is what I asked on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Josh Bridgman. I know that the audiences don't always follow on both sides, but if you want to, we do daily updates there. We talk about all the stuff we do on YouTube, maybe in even more detail because it's kind of pick up and go. But I put out a Q&A there, so I'm gonna go through as many of these questions as I can. Any ones that I don't answer, I've either not got, there's just too many questions, or I don't know the answer, you know. So if you have potentially asked me the same question a few times in the multiple Q&As, I'm not answering it because I don't know the answer. So I don't want to put stuff out there that I don't know the answer to. So without further ado, let's get into it, and we'll just reel off these questions, and I'll give you as many different topics as we can, so it's not a boring video. We'll keep you entertained with these questions. So the first question here is, how long should you first ever bulk be when you are starting with a low level of muscularity? Now, this is a great question because a lot of young kids who get in there, they will see, or they'll see people like me who shredded, like when they're on stage, or they'll see Ryan Terry, you know, the people, Jeff Side, all these people who have amazing ideal physiques with super lean, you know, body fat levels, but it's not possible for them to do that at that young age without the muscle maturity, without the ability to get lean, without the metabolic capacity to get lean. So I would highly recommend looking to gain muscle in somewhat of a surplus, like for years, for you know, for as long as you can hack it in terms of putting food in, with mindfulness not to get too fat or be fat. You're gonna be in that position when you're in a young age and first starting that you can just grow lean tissue very well. So years is my answer, if you can do it. How much muscle are you trying to gain during my off season, or is it hard to say? So you can never truly guess how much muscle you're going to gain, but I have a reference point, and my reference point is obviously taking that year off last year, which was 18 months, and I put on 10 kilos on my stage weight in 18 months. We have to consider that, like, as you get deeper and deeper into your career, that like rate of gain of muscle will start to creep off, even with the use of anabolic steroids. So for me, I still think I could probably replicate that. I still think I'm in the mid, I'm not like an open bodybuilder or a classic guy, so I've got a lot of room to grow. So I would like to think I could put on at least half that in the next period of time, which would be 4 to 5 kilos. And I think if I could be 4 to 5 kilos, that would put me up above 100 kilo on stage, which I'll be very happy with. Brad Simmons coming up with world's biggest questions. If you could only eat one biscuit for the rest of your life, what would it be? It would be a chocolate digestive. And I'm not a huge biscuit person, unfortunately. People are gonna shoot me for that, but I'm not a big biscuit person. My girlfriend, Amy, she absolutely loves biscuits, so we have an abundance of biscuits coming in and out of the house at various moments. My favorite ones that I've gone, can I have one? Is the chocolate digestive. If I want to be an IFBB pro someday, should I cycle or blast and cruise? So this is the person asking me that question, and I wanted to pick this question out because I have a very definitive answer for you. The definitive answer is that is not my decision to make. It's the decision that I made because of X, Y, and Z. You can go back and watch the videos of my decision to pursue this journey, but I get this question so often in my DMs, should I blast and cruise, should I this? Just, you have to go out and do your due diligence. Like, I'm not gonna give you that answer. I can provide you some benefits of doing either, but ultimately, if you're gonna go down this route and you're considering it to blast and cruise, that's gonna be a lifelong decision potentially. You should at least do your due diligence and find out what the pros and cons are, rather than saying, which one should I do? Okay, I'll do that. But like in the scheme of what I was doing in my life, it made sense to go on a blast and cruise, and you can go back and find the answers to those, because otherwise this video would be too long. Does strength loss or numbers dropping within the gym directly correlate to muscle loss in a deficit? Now, there's gonna be some relation with that, because what built your muscle is gonna keep it. If you just like doing 100 kilo for 10 reps when you're in your huge bulk, and you're doing 100 kilos for 10 reps when you're on stage, I would hazard a guess that you've managed to keep a lot of that muscle. So there's gonna be some sort of a correlation. However, just without the necessary nutrients to recover, to perform as well, to throw intra-workout in there, etc., like to maximize your performance, a natural strength loss will probably be there, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if you're on a deficit and we put food in you for like 2 weeks, like that strength would come back super quick. So there's gonna be like two variants there. Yes, potentially you're losing muscle, but also you're probably just losing the ability to recover as well, to perform as hard and etc., etc. Have you ever gone no carb during one of your preps? Nearly, very, very nearly. So I'll tell you about this one prep. This is trained by JP, Jordan Peters, who taught me so much about or informed me, enlightened me so much in my career. About how hard I can work, etc., etc. But I ended up, this is natural, I ended up on 1,600 calories a day, and it was just protein and maybe like a little bit of peanut butter here and there. And I was doing 60 minutes of cardio in the morning, and I was doing 40 minutes of cardio in the evening, and it was horrendous. It was really, really, really hard, but I've never had to push that hard again, so I kind of feel like he did me a service, because I feel like I never had to push that hard again. But it does feel very, very similar when you get that lean anyway. Probably went very, very close to no carb on those days, but that was only like 4 times a week. But very, very close, but not fully. If I only have time to train 3 to 4 times a week, what advice would you give me to maximize the efficiency of my sessions? It'd be doing multiple groups of muscle, like multiple muscle groups at once. So you wouldn't be doing a push or a pull or a chest or back. You'd be most likely doing like an upper session or a lower session. You could potentially do like a posterior session and an anterior session. There's multiple ways that you can multiply, muscles together to hit that frequency more often. Even if it's a push pull legs full body, you just, as long as you're trying to hit things at least twice a week over that 3 to 4 days period, you'd be doing yourself a favor. Favorite meals to have when you're bulking? So my go-tos at the moment, and gnocchi is unbelievably easy to get down, but unbelievably high carb. And I've been making like egg white rice stir fries, because rice is just super digestible for me anyway, and egg white's super digestible as well. So those have been 3 foods that I've been getting down really, really easily. Will peptides speed up the recovery if you're suffering from golfer's elbow? Potentially, yes. BPC 157, TB 500, they both can work for recovery. I think, don't quote me, but I think TB 500 is more for ligaments and tendons. So potentially look into that, but do your own research. There's a reason why these things aren't fully legal in sport. How much weight to gain per week while bulking? Now this is gonna sway a little bit if you're natural or not. If you're natural, like 1% of your total body weight per month is a really, really good way to do it. It's a really, really good way to do it. If you're like post-comp or like post-massive shred, okay, you're gonna gain a little bit quicker, because you gotta eat that food, right? You gotta enjoy it. But when you're in the bulk of your off season, like 1% of your total body weight per month is a really smooth, controlled rate. Like if you look good, okay, push it a little bit more, but nothing crazy. If you feel like you could do more, if you feel like you could do less, then okay, you'd reduce that food. If you're assisted, I would recommend pushing that a little bit more, because your ability to gain muscle is gonna be higher. So anywhere from 1 to 3% or something, you could probably do. But again, you've got to look at the visuals. If a lad already knows he's going to go on TRT in life, why wait? So I'm assuming that maybe you're like mid-20s and you're thinking, I'm going to go on TRT when I'm 40. Why not just do it now? The reason is because your testosterone is normal. Your testosterone is going to be the same as what it would be at TRT, because, and why would you want to just go and jet yourself for the sake of it? It's not fun. That's probably the worst thing about bodybuilding, is having to do that all the time. So that is the reason. Like, you'll literally peak in testosterone maybe like just before 30, but it will stay there for a decent period of time. And if you train well, you eat good, you take care of your body, it will, you will be fine until you're 40 probably. But there will be a period of time when naturally you will start to decline, and then you can make your own decision about it, if you get me. What's the best gym you've ever trained at? I think atmosphere-wise, Gold's Gym, because you're there and like you're in awe of the people that you're seeing. Callum Von Moger's there, you've got some pro bodybuilders in there every single day. However, the equipment is old. It is very, very old. It is a bit dusty in there, a bit sandy. In England, I still think that Crayford's probably the best gym that I've trained at. It's really, really good. But I would give honourable mentions to the Grow Room, because that is a really, really good gym, and also MJ's as well, a little small gym in Tetbury. Do you have a mobility routine? This got asked quite a few times. So I use an app called GoWOD. It's actually just like a CrossFit app. Me and my girlfriend, we love to watch the CrossFit games. She's very much into CrossFit. She got it from maybe her coach, who's a CrossFit coach, or maybe to some people that she follows. I started using it as well, and I definitely think that doing mobility away from your workout is a really, really good idea. Why away? Because we want to be supple, we want to be ready, and we want to be explosive in our workout, which potentially, like stretching and mobility, might not facilitate. So I'd recommend doing that after, if anything, if you're a bodybuilder. That is. Should online coaches also be qualified PTs? I don't think they should be qualified PTs. I think they should have another accreditation, but there's not such thing, which is the dangerous part about this industry. Like, I'm not qualified. I coach people. I tell people what to do. You know, I don't think that's right. I think there should be something out there for online coaches to take. I don't think a PT course does that, because a PT course, if you've ever done one, I have, it's nothing. It's not nothing to do with lifestyle changes, body, understanding the biochemistry, understanding nutrition, understanding metabolism, understanding true muscle gain. It's too lifestyle for me. So for online coaching, there should be another accreditation. If anyone wants to do it, let me know. When you get a blood test, do you do the finger prick or the venous? I get a nurse to come over and they take my blood, literally sat on the sofa. Generally, the more blood you have, the more accurate it's going to be. There have been issues with finger pricks in the past, things I've seen. What pro show would you like to debut in? I'm not too worried about like picking a sentimental pro show or like, I want this one to be my first. I like, what's going to be first is the one that's going to work best with my schedule to get to the Olympia. You know, whatever falls between probably like that August, maybe end of July range. Like that's probably going to be the ones that I pick, and whatever works feasibly with travel, those are going to be the ones that I pick. Opinions on reverse dieting. I think reverse dieting is really good. I think a lot of people just do it too slow. It's not like a case of how long can you stay in this deficit for? It should be like, right, boom, okay, now stop. You know, because I think got to get that body fat back quick after a competition. Would you train chest 3 times a week if it's a lagging body part? Potentially, but that you'd have to consider the amount of volume, the amount of training that you're doing, and what you're doing within that session, essentially. Like, you couldn't go into every session and do 15 sets or 45 sets over the week. So yes, if you want to do more frequency, that's fine. I've had good results from high frequency chest training before. I would just recommend pulling down your actual working sets and your training volume when you're going through this. Would you, this question, would you rather win the Mr. O men's physique or be the first to dethrone C-bum but never compete again? I've been under the impression for myself that if I got an O, I win the Mr. Olympia and I am the best that stood on that stage at any given time or in that moment, in that year or whatever, like that would be enough, because that's what I've worked for and I appreciate what I'm doing to myself. Like, I know that this isn't a long career that I necessarily could do. Maybe it is, who knows? So I'd like to say dethrone C-bum. The prize money's better. That would be a hell of a story. I respect the hell out of the guy. I'd never ever obviously gonna happen, but that would be cool. And I think that one would be enough, but you never know. Like, if I get there and I do it, I might want to come back again. So I'm gonna say that. How do you taper down T3 and T4 post-contest? So I actually didn't taper it down. I just kept it in. If you've got to consider that you're doing loads of cardio, eating not very much food, taking all these thermogenics, plus T3 and T4, like if you just take all of them out, the metabolic rebound is just gonna be awful. You know, you've got zero thyroid for like immediately, but you've also taken out all the thermogenics and also all the anabolics. It's not a good time. So instead I just kept the T3 and T4 in for 4 weeks until the anabolics are completely cleared and like all the thermogenics are completely cleared and my caffeine tolerance is way down. And then I just took it out. And then 4 weeks later, as we saw in my blood work video, my thyroid is more than back. It's absolutely fine now. If you could play any 5 games from the Xbox 360, what would they be and why? Halo 3, COD 4, Gears of War 2, Assassin's Creed, which one? Maybe 1 or 2. And then an old school FIFA, maybe like the 2012 FIFA. And I don't even need to explain why, do I? Let's face it. Final question. We've been here for a while. Or I've been here for a while. We've probably cut it down to a little bit less, but we've been here for a while. Do you retract your scapula when pressing? So generally speaking, you just want to put your shoulder girdle in a safe place. You're going to be loading a lot of weight. Most of the time, it means arching your back, pulling your shoulder blades back, and just holding it steady. I wouldn't suggest that you lose your tension in your scapula when you're pressing, but a function of pressing, of moving your, a function of the pec is protraction. I wouldn't recommend getting there and then like protracting forward, but I'd definitely recommend trying to get as far as you can, but also using a machine that you do protract forward, potentially like a fly where you protract across, just because you've got to consider that is a movement of the pec, just to get it a little bit shorter, but that's gonna be it. That's gonna be the video. I hope this is good enough for you. It feels good enough. We'll see you very soon, guys. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment. If you're enjoying the content lately, show your boys some love. We are going to the moon. The channel's been growing like crazy. We've got like 3,500 new subscribers a month, which for little old me is absolutely amazing. So we're gonna keep working. We're gonna keep moving towards the goal. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. We'll see you very soon.